and welcome back, all you wonderful weed heads, to another and brand new edition of Weed on Wrestling. I'm, of course, Weed, aka Alan, your host that tries to stay stoned the most. Here on Weed on Wrestling, I get super big and try to talk about all the finer things on WWE Universe. I just got done talking a little 205 live action, and that brings us in to NXT. NXT from May 3rd, 2017. I'm recording it here on May the 4th be with you. May the 4th, 2017. And what we know coming into the show. Here's what we know coming into this NXT show. Bobby Roode is the champion. Hideo Itami wants to be the champion. Authors of Pain, Team DIY. They have a fucking match at some point down the line. I don't know when. Asuka, she's your women's champ, and tonight there's a battle royale to decide the number one contender. And is Sanity still a thing? I think they are. Pretty sure they are. Let's see, we also have part 2 of the boring-ass Roderick Strong story. Snooze. Let's see, we also got Aleister Black, Drew McIntyre, Cassius Ohno, all of them. Plus, there's always a chance that we might get to see Ho-Ho Loon. All that and more to look forward to, so let's just jump right into it, shall we? And yep, Sanity is still a thing, and that's the way that the show starts off. Shitty music and all. Enter Eric Young, Killian Dane, and it's Killian Dane in a singles competition match against Danny Burch. That's the first match of the evening, and it's a squash match. And you might want to remember that term because it's kind of setting a trend that the entire night seems to follow. Because, yeah, Burch was in the 205 Live tournament, and Dane is well over 300 pounds. And he's fucking dominant. I mean, the best part about this entire match were the shave your back chants coming from the NXT crowd. The crowd work in NXT is above everything else. That shave your back chant, that was good. That was good directed toward Killian Dane. Speaking of Dane, he picks up the victory. I mean, who really could have guessed this in a fucking predictable match like that? Jesus. Speaking of predictable matches, that leads us right into the second match of the evening. And that was Heavy Machinery versus a team of some dude named Huntsman and a dude named Watts. Again, with the squash match motif of the evening. Huntsman and Watts' combined weight does not equal the weight of one of the members of Heavy Machinery. Fucking hell, the predictability factor is out in full fucking display tonight on NXT. Heavy Machinery, they look dominant as fuck. All the while, you know, they maintain a certain amount of entertainment value that's added into every time that they're making an appearance. And yeah, it's pretty good. They're dominant. It's simply a fun team to watch as they kind of throw their weight around. And Heavy Machinery, as predicted and as you could kind of guess, they picked up the pinfall in this, and it was basically an all-offensive bout for Heavy Machinery. And that one spot where one of the dudes was holding up two of their competitors, it was a nice little spot. And then, you know, Heavy Machinery gets a mic. They cut a pretty decent promo. Stakes and weights, baby. Stakes and weights, baby. It was a nice little promo as Heavy Machinery calls out the Authors of Pain. That one's gonna be a beefy fucking match. Authors of Pain versus Heavy Machinery. That's gotta be some fucking beef. So yeah, these guys are cool enough. So yeah, give me some more of that or whatever the fuck these guys kind of are. I mean, they're kind of similar to Enzo and Cass. If Enzo and Cass were both 350 plus pounds. I mean, if both of them were just fucking giants, then yeah. And if Enzo only spoke in like 5-syllable phrases. But I can dig it. I can get behind it. It's actually kind of clever. It's kind of cool. And yeah, when you really think about how much weight is going to be in the ring with Heavy Machinery versus Authors of Pain, that kind of gets me excited. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I said somebody's going to have to be big and strong and fucking huge, basically, to take out Authors of Pain. And Heavy Machinery seems to be on a dominant trajectory and just might face Authors of Pain eventually. But first, We cut a promo DIY backstage in a little segment talking about how first, though, DIY is owed a rematch to the Authors of Pain because they haven't got a full fair shake of things, I guess, if you want to say that. I don't know. I don't really know what to think there, simply for the fact that yes, they are owed a rematch to the Authors of Pain, but at the same time, I'm ready for Team DIY to move on up. Go to either NXT, or not NXT, but go to either 205 Live, or go to a SmackDown, or a Raw, or something like that. It's just, yeah, it should be interesting moving forward. Our third match of the night, and yeah, it's Kona Reeves versus Hideo Itami. So the number one contender versus basically a nobody. Nice to see that the trend of jobbers getting the shit kicked out of them continues. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Reeves, he attacked Itami early before the bell, and he looked pretty impressive for about the first 2.5, 3 minutes. And then he kind of got too cocky, and then Itami came back, and, you know, he fought his way back, and he got some badass blistering kicks in there. And then you go see it go to sleep from Hideo Itami. 1, 2, 3. Itami stands victorious at the end. He looks impressive moving forward as it's looking to shape up like he's going to be perhaps in the picture for the number one contendership of Bobby Roode's Glorious Championship. I don't know. But what I do know, though, is my botch of the night. And it has to go whoever okayed this bullshit, boring-ass Roderick Strong biopic that we're fucking forced to sit through. It makes no goddamn sense. Put it in a goddamn YouTube vignette and call it good. Don't waste my time when I tune in to watch wrestling with a fucking video package that lasts longer than most matches do. What the hell is the point? Let me learn about them on my own accord and don't force them down my fucking gullet. It makes me hate them even more. Didn't you learn your lesson from Vince McMahon, Vince? Vince, didn't you learn your lesson from fucking Roman Reigns, Vince? I'm high as balls. This is my second podcast in about an hour and a half, so yeah. I'm stuttering and stammering over my words, but I don't give a fuck. You get my point here. The botch of the night is that bullshit Roderick Strong segment. It's fucking horrible. And in no way getting me to like Strong. If anything, it makes me hate him even more. So yeah, botch of the night goes to NXT for making me sit through not one, but 2 of these fucking segments in as many weeks. You can fuck rightly off. If you were to air the segments, one early and one late in a show, I can understand it. But make me sit through 2 fucking segments that's just as long as each other, 15 minutes each, in 2 fucking weeks. You just basically gave half a show to Roderick Strong. Fuck off. Alright, let's continue. It was a nice little segment after that with Bobby Roode, William Regal, going a little back and forth, a tit for tat, if you will. Regal makes it official, though. He makes it official. Next week, there's going to be a match between Roderick Strong and Hideo Itami. And the winner of that will be the number one contender for Bobby Roode's title at NXT Takeover, the next Takeover, which will be in Chicago in a couple weeks. That excites me. Now, speaking of number one contenderships, we were in for a doozy of a number one contendership match with the women's division. And it was, their battle royal. Lacey Evans was introduced first, a fucking nobody. And then we get the Aussie bitches, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce. There's Nikki Cross in there. There's Liv Morgan, Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, and then a bunch of nobodies. There's 15 women total. The whole time I was sitting there thinking how long until Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross eliminate themselves, but they never did. They hung right in there and they looked pretty impressive. Ruby Riott, she's still young, and that's what we keep forgetting about her. Like, she's still early in her development. I don't want to see a big push from her too early because, she's charismatic and, she's good, but she's still kind of stiff in her ring. She needs some more development. That's all I'm going to say about her. And there was a lot of screaming and a lot of hair pulling that was on full display in this match. And there was so much botching. It was really too much botching to fucking comprehend. Like, just stiff no-sells, grasping at ropes, and just flailing about. And it was kind of rough to watch for a little while, but then once the action started, you know, people started getting eliminated. Victoria Gonzalez, who? She was eliminated first. Bianca Blair, who? She was eliminated, she was tossed out second. Rachel Evers is out third, and the crowd really booed. I don't even know who that is. And then there was 3 or 4 random nobody's gone real fucking quick. It was down to the top 8 at a certain point, and I think those were about the biggest names in the NXT division, like women's division, because there's blatantly about 5 tiers, because you have Asuka, and then you have about 4 or 5 other ones just beneath her. I include Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott, and throw the Aussie bitches in there, maybe Liv Morgan and a couple other. And then you have the mediocre ones, and at the bottom you have the rest. And we were kind of got rid of the rest early on. And then we were down to like the mediocre, mid-range to kind of better. And then you had like the top, like Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, and Nikki Cross, and all them. So yeah, it was down to the top 8 of the biggest names, and the biggest boo, I think, of the night came when Candice got thrown out, and we were left with 7. Aaliyah was gone next, and then Liv Morgan. Nikki Cross looked impressive. I think when Liv Morgan was tossed, I think she got the biggest ovation. Billie Kay was bounced, and then Peyton Roy, both by Ember Moon pretty quickly. And then we were left to our top 3. And that's where things kind of took an interesting turn. Because it was Ember Moon, it was Ruby Riott, kind of a newcomer as of sorts. She a little popular on the indie scene, but making a big splash here at NXT over the last month or so. And Nikki Cross. And I like Nikki Cross's character. I ain't gonna lie, she's good in her ring too. But I don't think she's quite there yet. And it was a nice little back and forth and back again. And the battle was good. 3 great talents in a ring doing what they're supposed to, and it was really good. Ember Moon, she hits an eclipse on Nikki Cross. She seems to be in complete control. She's going for another eclipse on Ruby Riott this time. Down runs Asuka. Asuka attacks Ember Moon, and then she kicks Ruby Riott, and she lays out an already dazed Nikki Cross. No one is ready for Asuka. Holy fuck. If she was sending a message at that, as my dog's barking in the background, if she was sending a message well received, holy fuck. We thought it was going to end there, but oh no, there's more. Out comes William Regal as he makes a fatal 4-way match official for the next Takeover Chicago, in a couple weeks. So yeah, Asuka, Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott. Remember, Asuka does not need to be pinned to lose her title. That's the interesting thing here. I never even thought of that as a way to move her up. She doesn't need to be pinned. She goes out with an unblemished record, having never actually truly lost. Holy shit. A great way to end a mediocre show. And what a way. If this is the way they're sending off Asuka, what a way to send her off. My what about me, what about Raven, missing superstar of the night? I mean, shit, there's so many fucking jobbers. Where was Ho-Ho Loon or Oni Lorcan? But no, I digress. So, yeah, let's go with my missing talent tonight. NXT Tag Team Champions, the Authors of Pain. Yeah, they were referenced. Yeah, they were challenged. But no, we didn't get to see them. Fuck, it's been since, like, the last takeover that they've actually competed in a match or made an appearance or anything like that. So, yeah, my what about me, what about Raven, missing superstar of the night, none other than the Authors of Pain. So, yeah, it's basically going to come down to my overall feeling afterwards, and damn, that was a shit ton of bull fuck all. Like, it wasn't even worth really the time to watch it. Fuck, 3 of the 4 matches were basically squash matches, where we knew who the victor was going to be before the bell rang, or even before the intros ended. And then the one match that was actually good storyline-wise, and it developed properly, it took a fuck ton of botches just to get to the point of brilliance. Then again, at least Bobby Roode and Asuka can be bothered to even show up to an actual event. I mean, I don't know. Really, is this the absolute best way to develop talents as we move forward as a company? I mean, squash match after squash match after jobber for a star after jobber for a star. Is that all that NXT has become? Nothing more than an operation to put your stolen talent from other organizations that happen to be your competing companies and just putting them against your local jobber? Is that all it is? I mean, shit, it makes me miss the old NXT when the proper stories were told and developed and the feuds, they were true and they had, sustenance to them while they were being properly developed. I mean, fuck. Now we're just left to this shit. I mean, it can't be ignored. I mean, alright. Basically what I'm saying is the matches that we've seen tonight are nothing more than matches that you put on in the background as a YouTube clip just to kind of catch up on what you've missed. It's not worth the time of day. I mean, it's something you put on in the background to do dishes with. Bad on you, NXT, bad on you. But still yet, though, I'm going to keep tuning in because as it develops, this NXT Takeover Chicago in a couple weeks, it should really be the tits. I mean, when we think about it, and I'm even going to do the work here, we have the tag team champs, the Authors of Pain, and we have Team DIY in that equation. I mean, this is just for the tag team division. I'm also going to throw Heavy Machinery in there. I don't think they're quite ready, but you might as well put them in the scenario. And then we have the women's division, and you have Asuka. You have Ember Moon in that. You have Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. Next week, we're getting to see a number 1 contender for the NXT Championship for Rude. And between Itami and Roderick Strong, right now, I'm going to give it to Itami. So it's going to be Roderick Strong versus Itami. And, yeah, that's basically what I think it is. But at some point, we're going to have to see Aleister Black and Drew Galloway in a ring at the same time. We're going to see Cassius Ohno and probably, what's his name, Killian Dane, or like a Eric Young or something like that. Roderick Strong's in the equation. We can't forget about Cien. I mean, there's so much potential that's on the roster here. I mean, fuck, Ho-Ho Loon is in the equation too. Where the fuck did Ho-Ho go? So moving forward, I know NXT's got a lot of talent, but I just don't know where they go. So that's about all I've got for today. What do you say we get the fuck out of here, huh? I've been Weed, a.k.a. Alan, your host that tries to stay stoned the most, and that's been Weed on Wrestling. I appreciate you tuning in here talking about the NXT, but I'll be back on probably the next show. So what is it, Monday? I'll be back on, talk a little Monday Night Raw next week. I think I'm all caught up at this point. You can find me at all the normal places. That's iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. Spreaker is my main one. That's where I go through most of the stuff. And, of course, Twitter. You can't forget about Twitter. Hit me up. It's at Weed on Wrestling. All one word, Weed on Wrestling. Hit me up on Twitter. And, yeah, you say we get the fuck out of here. You guys take care of yourselves. Take care of each other out there. Let's get the fuck out of here. It was painfully obvious that Tom Phillips missed Corey Graves on NXT. 205 Live was so great commentating between them two. And then you go to NXT where it's Corey Graves and Nigel McGuinness and that other douche. It was bad. I don't know. A couple of bad shows in a row. 205 Live and NXT. Following a couple good shows from Raw and SmackDown. So maybe next week it flips the script. We'll see. Let's get the fuck out of here. I've been in the Black Cave way too long. Get second and serious. I gotta do something.